Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Forbidden Land podcast. It's episode number 70. And last week we talked about the post-debate kind of discussion of... I didn't even eat this popsicle. I'll eat it while I'm recording. I always forget about this. You know, last week we talked about the post-debate. We talked about the Supreme Court ruling. And last week I hinted at how, maybe Biden will drop out of the race and they'll replace him. I've heard other opinions now. I'm a lot more content with, Kamala Harris running or Gavin Newsom. Yikes. Good thing there's this mic here. But I'm way more chill with one of them running than Joe Biden. I was kind of reassured that it would be a winnable race if one of them ran. Right now, Biden's polling 43%. Trump is polling 49%, and then I think the rest are other. Damn, I'm getting freaky with this. So, I was like, Biden dropping out doesn't sound as detrimental anymore. It doesn't matter, because he's not going to drop out. He has come out now multiple times saying that he's not going to drop the race. He even did an interview with George Stephanopoulos. What's his name? George who? This guy's so popular. I see him all the time. Stephanopoulos. Jesus. Greek god type name. But, he did an interview. I've watched a little bit of it. It's bad. Seriously, I'm getting freaky with this thing. I've watched the interview. It's really bad. He looks horrible. He looks old. It's not as bad as the debate. It was not great. And recently I've been going back and watching old Obama clips because they just keep getting suggested to me. My God, what a speaker. I mean, the Democratic Party fell off, dude. They've been getting handed candidates forever now. And they chose Joe Biden this time around. Come on. Come on, Jack. Good Lord. Replace him with someone else. They keep talking about, the primary this, the primary that. The people chose Joe Biden. No, the people in 37 states chose Joe Biden. The other states were forced to vote for Biden, pretty much. A lot of states didn't have the other candidates on the ballot. An alarming amount. It was barely a primary. Let's be fucking real. And I mean, they should be. How did the Republican primary not freak them out? The fact that Trump didn't have to show up to a single debate to give Ron DeSantis a fucking rim job in the primaries. Interesting flavor. But yeah. How did Trump, balling off the primaries, how did that not alarm the Democratic Party? That's how popular Trump is. Now my tongue didn't turn a different color. That's unfortunate. Well, let's watch a little bit of this interview. Because, I mean, he doesn't look great. This is the sitting president already. They've sprayed the orange paint on him. I don't know, man. He just does. And then I find out that shit was 11 or 12 days before the debate. And then he spent almost a full week prepping for the debate, resting. Dude, how did you, fuck that up? How did you not get enough rest? A week? It took him a week to barely recharge? That's a problem, man. All this could be solved with, Biden essentially pulling an LBJ and going, look, my policies have not been the best. In Biden's case, I'm older. I want to put the country in the hands of someone that is young and forward thinking and will introduce a policy that will benefit the American people. And then he steps down as the Democrat candidate, and then they go, all right, Vice President Kamala Harris, go for it. Or something like that. But he has such a weird ego on him. He won't do it. He views himself as the one guy that can save the country. And he's not. He's not that guy. There are didn't he literally say there's 50 other people that could beat Trump? Put one of them up there, man. Right now in the polls, generic Democrat is beating Trump. The other Democratic candidates or potential candidates that we've all suggested as replacements, they're polling better than Biden by a lot. And so, it's just, oh my God. It's just ridiculous that the Democratic Party is allowing him to stay in. And I don't know what he's waiting on. I don't know if he's waiting for the DNC. I don't know if he's, gonna just ride it out for the election. Because that's alarming if he is. If he waits for the DNC, it's dude, you might as well just do it now. Yeah, I don't know what his plan is. I don't know what the Democrats' plan is. It's really upsetting. More than likely the Democrats will take the Senate, or maybe not the Senate, but they'll take the House probably. All the down ballot candidates are doing better than the Republicans in the polls. It's just Joe Biden. He's so abysmal right now. The left doesn't like him because of his stance on Israel, his unwavering support for Israel. We tried to pressure the Democrats by saying we're not going to vote for him in hopes that they would, reverse course. They don't give a fuck. They're just going to hand the presidency to Trump, which, he's 1,000 times worse on Israel. And he even showed it a little bit during the debate when he called Biden a weak Palestinian. God, I'm having a weird autism moment. I'm tasting the popsicle stick, and the texture is driving me nuts. It's in my head. It's all in my head. But Trump called him a weak Palestinian, so we know that Trump is going to be worse on Israel. But he's losing the left because he's still unwaveringly supporting the IDF, and then he's now starting to lose some of the libs who are scared now because they just watched their infallible candidate completely fuck up on stage during a debate. So I don't know what I don't know what the Democrats' plan is. Yeah, that's wonderful when I open Twitter and the first thing I see is a father holding his dead son in Gaza. Good Lord, man. Ay, ay, ay. So I was going to talk about the new numbers, because I see that people are still quoting the Gaza Health Ministry. But there was an esteemed medical journal that had a peer-reviewed study done, and they were able to, because a lot of I'm sure you noticed the death toll in Gaza has kind of stalled with official numbers. Oh, Democracy Now! Has an article on it. Good. So the death toll's been kind of halted at about 38,000 to 40,000. And it's 10th month. No way. Oh God, it is the 10th month. Oh Lord. So the numbers have stalled, and what is it? The Lancet did a study. It's a British medical journal, and it's peer reviewed and everything. They are saying that it's insanely possible that the actual death toll right now is 186,000. 186,000, which would be what they say roughly 8% of the population in Gaza. So 186,000 Palestinians have died. They looked at all of the deaths that were caused by shortages of medical care, food, shelter, and water. So people basically starving to death or dying from disease or dying from injuries, which is, you know, people think the death toll should just include bombed civilians. No, dude, you got to include the people that are being starved by the IDF, the people that are being denied medical supplies by the IDF, the people whose homes have been destroyed by the IDF, the water supply, which has always been insanely disgusting in Gaza, because of the way that Israel has just neglected the Gaza Strip during its occupation. So yeah, horrifying stuff, you know, the death toll being this high. But yeah, pretty horrible stuff. But you know, let's give some slightly lighter news. Let's see. Oh yeah, so, and we'll watch a little bit more of the interview in a second, because I kind of forgot about it. But in France, in the French elections, you know, Macron was like, actually, I want to have how do I do a French accent? I want to have a second election. Not enough cigarette funding. Not enough baguette. That's a horrible French accent, by the way. The far-right fascist parties in France have lost the election. The leftists have won. In the UK, the same thing is happening. The Labour Party, which is a bit of a more liberal left-wing party, won over the Conservative Party. So it's about like 400 something to 100 something. So, you know, that's the ratio, 4-1 seat grab. One alarming part of the UK one is that the Reform Party won a few seats. And the Reform Party are basically like the Nazi Party of the UK. Either way, though, somewhat of a dub. You know, the left is gaining some traction in Europe. I say in Europe. I'm just talking about two countries. Two of the US's major allies are getting a left-wing swing on the pendulum. The America itself and Canada, the North American politics, or I should just say the U.S. and Canada, because Mexico just elected a liberal woman as president. But the U.S. and Canada are seemingly going down a right-wing swing on the pendulum. Justin Trudeau is somewhat unpopular in Canada. I think I've said in a previous episode, I think that fucking dork-ass loser who complains about housing, I think he's going to be the prime minister if the Conservatives gain any power in Parliament. I think he's like one of the leading, most popular conservatives in their government right now. But there's that, and then America might be swinging into a Trump presidency part 2. So, anyways, let's get back to this interview. I kind of forgot that we were even watching. Slipping. Dude, come on. It's making me more and more upset. 32,000 dislikes. Fuck. This feels more like an intervention than an interview. Oh god, here we go. He sounds like that grandparent that won't give up the keys after multiple accidents. Sir, will you count to 10 for us on camera? Look, I count to 10 every day. I've had doctors tell me they spoke to someone who counted to 10 once. That's exactly how all of his answers sound. Funny how this is all new to everyone when we saw this 6 years ago, way before President. Thank you. The fact that ABC left the comment section on says a lot. Not really. I don't think they shut off the comment section that much. Dude, thank you. Thank you. Leftists have been saying for years. We've been saying for years Biden's too old. Sorry, I'm asking for somebody to give me something. We've been saying for years that Biden was too old. We said it during the 2020 election, not realizing that now it's way worse. Like I think last episode I watched the a clip from the 2020 debate, and not only does Biden look way better in that debate, even Trump looks better. Like, I was alarmed at how bad Trump looks right now. And 2020 was 4 whole years ago. I kind of forget that sometimes. But, you know, Trump looks like worse now. Like, I get that he's older. He's at like the Biden 2020 stage right now, where he's starting to look old. He's starting to lose his edge. I guarantee that if Trump wins by the end of his term, he will look like how Biden looks now. Whether it be just as bad or worse or not as bad, but like getting there. Because he was showing a little bit of 2020 Biden during his performance. I mean, like, he wasn't as loud as he was before. He wasn't really interrupting as much as he was before. Like, and you could watch him during the answers. He wasn't really interrupting much. And I actually do agree that them muting the mics made Biden look even worse, because they would cut to him and he would start like, and I think there were moments where Trump was interrupting him, but we couldn't really hear it. So it just looked like Biden was trailing off. It's just 4 years ago, they looked totally different. Trump looks old now, older than he did before. Biden looks ancient. He has like the permanent, like, I just ate way too much vinegar. Like, even Bush Jr. Would have a better performance. And Bush Jr., W. Bush, like, sucked at giving speeches. That's like the number one thing that liberals would make fun of him for. But I don't know why this is such shocking news to liberals, that Biden is too old. You know, we've been saying this. Hold on, I have to pull this up. Because I think this is an important piece of history. In 2020, I made a video. A little fan cam of my Pookie, Joseph Biden. And I want to show y'all. It's called I Want to Have Sex with Joe Biden. Like, even even in those photos, he looks old, and that's in 2020. Oh, what? I didn't know Jank. Wait, did Jank and RFK debate? I don't know. Anyways, even in 2020, he looked old. A lot of those pictures are from like 2019, 2020. Even in that, he looks old. Also, I made that fan cam before I became a leftist. And even back then, I was like, Joe Biden looks like hot ass, dude. Hot shit. And I was like a center left lib. Not as hopped up as the libs, but I was like a center moderate left person. And like, I probably politically aligned with Biden on almost everything back then. And yet, even back then, I was like, he looks old as fuck, dude. So, I don't know.
And
I'm gonna be 26 by the time the next election rolls around after this one. Dude, if I don't even know what to do. The Middle East is arguably more destabilized right now than it was before. Like, by before I mean back when Obama was president. Like, when Obama was president, we had the Iranian nuclear deal. As much as I hate this, we were occupying Afghanistan. We had destabilized Syria to some extent, which, you know, that one is kind of the constant in this whole story. Syria has been getting fucked with this entire fucking time, but Israel would act up sometimes, but not too much. Because I know they had their little stunt in 2014. They pulled some shit in 2009 or 2008, I think it was. They obviously chirped up a few times. The annexation, or no, that's a different region. Hold on. Sorry, we're talking about the Middle East. See, I'm having my own little Joe Biden moment. Overall, the Middle East has been destabilized a lot worse now than it was before. Like, our very unorganized plan of pulling out of Afghanistan, as much as I'm glad we pulled out of there, we should have had a better plan in place, and we should have definitely prepped it for a lot longer. We shouldn't have just up and left in like a day or two. Trump giving the Golan Heights to Israel, Biden having two major mishaps with Israel in the last 4 years. The first one being the settlers causing such an uproar in the West Bank that it got the attention of Americans, which is pretty rare. The genocide going on in Gaza right now has definitely gotten the attention of Americans far more than it has historically. We don't have an Iranian nuclear deal anymore, thanks to Trump. And thanks to Biden and Trump, we've just made no effort to rebuild that deal, and we keep provoking Iran. And yeah, so the whole region is fucked. He also mentions NATO. Dude, Americans don't give a fuck about NATO. Be real. Be real. The Cold War is over. There's no purpose for NATO anymore. The only purpose for NATO is to protect Europe. Like, just to protect Western and Central Europe. Be real. It's to protect them against Russia, and look at what good that's doing them. You know, the countries that you actually needed in NATO one of them got invaded. Ukraine. Nobody gives a fuck about NATO in the US, dude. Go give those talking points to somebody in like Germany or fucking Denmark or something. I don't know. Whatever countries are in NATO.
Things are done.
for the first 2 years of the Biden presidency, we had control of the House, the executive, and the Senate, with the only obstacle being the Supreme Court, which up to that point had not really ruled on anything. So for the first they overturned Roe v. Wade in 2022, I believe. I always forget that happened 2 years ago and not last year. Been too long. But prior to the midterms, we had the full trifecta: House and Senate, executive branch, with our only roadblock being the Supreme Court, if they were to just start like rapid firing off rulings that contradicted our legislation, like they did with student loan relief. We had ample opportunity to pass healthcare initiatives. We passed a gutted, pussified version of the infrastructure bill. What was the other thing he said?
Breaking through in so many incredible opportunities. This next term, I'm going to make sure we have straighten out the tax system.
We could have straightened out the tax system, healthcare, better infrastructure bill, get a better tax system, student loan relief. We could have even packed the court. We could have ended the filibuster. Maybe on the filibuster thing. We didn't have a overwhelming majority in the Senate. We just had a very slim 50-50 majority in the Senate. But my point stands. We had both chambers and the Oval Office. We passed a gutted version of the infrastructure bill and then cried, bitched, and complained about all the other shit. We allowed one rogue Democrat to fuck up the whole system. We allowed a second rogue Democrat to then step in and extra fuck up the system when the first Democrat showed signs of falling in line. We allowed two Dems to fuck up the whole thing. You know where those two Dems are now? One of them is talking about how she wants to unregister from the Democratic Party and possibly even be a Republican. She used to be a leftist Democrat, and now she's a moderate Republican. And then we have the other guy who wants to be an independent. So why are we, as the Democratic Party, not whipping these people into shape? You know what they do to Republicans that fall out of line in the Republican Party? They label them as rhinos. They label them as rhinos. And then they primary the shit out of them next time they're up on the election ballot. And they're fairly successful with it. Mitt Romney, I think, has been able to get away with doing what he's doing. Liz Cheney ran out of the building. Like, she got outed out of there, dude. The Republicans are great at whipping their party into shape. All it takes, though, to get outed by the Republicans is either being a rhino or being so crazy that the constituency loses faith in your party a little bit more than usual. And then you have to either tell them to dial it back or kick them out. The Democrats are pussies, dude. I forgot who tweeted it. But somebody tweeted something like, in 2018, they said, the Democrats have been saying for a decade, so, about 16 years now. The Democrats have been saying for a decade, a dog can't play basketball. Meanwhile, there's been a dog playing fucking basketball for 25 fucking years. The Republicans have been bending the rules to their will, have been finding loopholes in the system, and abusing their positions since like Reagan. At minimum, Reagan. And the Democrats just keep going, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. And then they go, oh, I'm not going to do anything about it, though. But you can't do that. No. But I'm not going to stop them. That's what the Democrats have been doing this entire time. This wet blanket of a president, dude, sends me up the walls. Anytime I hear him talk about during this re-election campaign is next term this, when I get elected that. You could have done it. You could have figured out a way to get it done. You could do it right now. You could do some of this shit. Start firing off some executive orders, baby. Come on. I don't understand. Ugh. Anyways, I'm done. What a train wreck, dude. Also, I looked up the British Prime Minister. It's like Keir Starmer or something like that, leader of the Labour Party. Also, I didn't realize that was the first Labour Party Prime Minister since before David Cameron. I mean, that's crazy. You know. And it's also remarkable how many prime ministers there have been in the last 10 or so years. It's kind of unprecedented for British history to have, you know, David and then, Boris, then Liz, then Rishi Sunak, the recent one from the Conservatives, and then like the current Labour Party prime minister. That's kind of crazy to have that many in 10 years when they used to serve about 7 to 10 years at a time, like David Cameron did. He served for 6 before he got outed. Was there anybody between Boris and David Cameron? I forgot. Who was... No, yeah, I forgot about Theresa May. Holy fuck. Damn, Boris didn't serve for that long. David Cameron, Theresa May, Boris Johnson, Liz Truss, Rishi Sunak. So that's 5 conservative prime ministers in a 12-year span. And then the Labour Party prime minister. Kind of crazy. I guess it's not that unprecedented. Anyways, British politics is interesting. So, you know, as we close this podcast out for the week, crazy shit. As we close it out for the week, you know, don't stress too much about the election. It'll be in November. It's about 4 months away. Try not to stress. You know, a lot can happen in 4 months. Hopefully one of those things is Biden stepping down. But, yeah. A lot can happen. So, try not to stress about it. A couple final notes is that the hurricane hit Texas. I think it's killed 6 people from what I last read. So that's pretty horrific. The Senate right now, Chuck Schumer's talking about passing legislation that would make the immunity ruling pointless. And then U.S. forgives Indonesian debt. That's some decent news. Cool. The U.S. just forgave $35 million in Indonesian debt. Let's do that for student loans. Anyways. Also, quit fucking bullying Sketch, dude. If he's gay, let him be gay. If he did gay OnlyFans content, who gives a fuck, dude? Go off, King. More power to you. Jesus Christ, y'all suck. Anyways, all right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We're on Patreon. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on YouTube Music. You could also get our RSS feed from the website and put it into your podcast app if you really want to. All right. That'll be it. Have a wonderful day. And bye-bye.